what's going on, everybody? Welcome to our first Q&A. We got Nathaniel driving. We're on a very short 2-day road trip today, and I thought we would take this time to answer some of your questions. I promised several days ago, actually it was on December 31st. Yeah, I noticed there was a lot of new subscriptions coming in, and I don't really pay a lot of attention to it, to be honest, but I saw that more were coming in, so I went and looked at the numbers. And I noticed that we were only 13 away from hitting 300, and I thought, well, why not? I'll see if I can get a push on the last day of the year to get over 300, and if we did, then I would promise you guys a Q&A. And man, did you come through. I didn't think that we would even hit the 13. Not only did we hit the 13, but we had in about a 32-hour period 86 new subscriptions come in, so we went well over the 300 mark. I promised you guys I would do this, and so here we are. So what are we doing today? Well, we're headed to my friend Kevin's house in Ohio. If you remember Kevin, he was one of the 3 guys that helped us out when we did the roof swap on Nathaniel's car. We've got some parts for him. I've also got some parts that I'm giving to him that he's going to deliver to Bill, who was also in that episode, who lives in Pennsylvania. Kevin does a lot of sales calls in that area and can deliver some heads for me that we want to get reworked because we're about to do a motor rebuild here soon, and I'm giving the heads to Bill to do some work on. So anyway, quick trip to Kevin's overnight, back again tomorrow, and we're here to answer some of your questions. So let me get to the first question. All right, the first question that came in was actually from Vibrolas. If you guys know Chris and Elia, I think it's Elia. I think that's how you pronounce it. I apologize, Elia, if I screwed up your name. Husband and wife, punk rock band, awesome couple. Love these guys. I love their music too, actually. Chris asked, what are your engine plans? And it's funny that you asked that because I kind of gave some of it away.
Exit right to exit 296A, I-469 East, US 33 South.
Blah, 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 blah. Okay, you gotta take it right up here. Yeah. Okay, anyway, I don't know if you guys even heard that, but that was Siri telling us where to turn. So, engine plans. Well, it's pretty simple. It's the old small block that I built 30 years ago that used to be in my Monza Spyder. It's a warmed over 350. It's a 1972 4-bolt main truck block. It's been bored 30 over. So technically it's a 355. I've got forged flat top piston, forged TRW aluminum pistons, some decent rods, like LT1 rods. The crank's been turned
exit
10
right
under.
To exit 296A, I-469 East, US 33 South.
Thank you, Siri. She's probably going to talk to us one more time too once we make this turn. So, and then the heads are nothing special. They're just small heads. They're 76cc, 194, 150 valves, but they've been rebuilt, although they need a little freshening up, and that's what Bill's going to do with them. So we're taking these to Kevin's to have him deliver them. So I got a new comp cams. I think it's a 268H Extreme Energy Series cam. I don't remember the specs on it off the top of my head, but I would say that the engine's going to make a conservative 300 to 325 horse. I don't really want a lot for Nathaniel because, yeah, you don't really want to give a 16-year-old a 400, 500 horsepower motor. It's another reason we took the posi traction actually out of the car and replaced
Continue
it.
straight for 15 minutes to exit 21,
Okay.
US 24 East.
Thank you, Siri.
It's actually very helpful to me.
I know. It keeps us in the right direction while we're talking. Anyway, so posi traction's gone. We're trying to limit the horsepower. That is the engine plan. So we'll go to the next question. All right. Someone by the name of Monza Bill asked, yeah, he's laughing. Monza Bill is our friend Bill. I didn't realize he'd asked a question. I just looked at it. He wants to know what you want to be when you grow up because he's looking for ideas.
Don't ask me that.
We don't know. He's a freshman in high school, guys. At this point, I think I'm just happy that he's doing well in school. We've looked into some plans. I mean, we have looked into an automotive tech program at Indiana State University, but We'll see. Ask us again in about 3 years. How about that? Okay, a user by the name of G-Paul Gorham. I'm assuming that stands for Grandpa Gorham, maybe. He asked, how many changes have been made or are being made that you didn't originally anticipate? That's a good one. We've had a lot of changes, actually, that we didn't anticipate. Some of them happened because of changes that we chose to make and then didn't anticipate what all was involved in making those changes. So it wasn't really an unanticipated change. It just was, there's just more involved than we thought there was. For instance, changing the car from a round headlight steel bumper car to a sport front end with the 4 headlights and the urethane front end and the urethane back end, all that metal work that had to be done, we kind of knew that needed to be changed out. But along the way, we learned that we didn't cut out enough of the metal. We learned that there's some provisions for wiring we need. There's some indentations we need. We learned a lot in that process, and so that was a lot of unanticipated stuff. I'd say the next thing that was unanticipated was I don't know. There really wasn't that much unanticipated. The only other thing that was really unanticipated was just the roof swap itself. We knew kind of where it needed to be cut. My friend Bill actually had a tree fall on top of his car last year, and incidentally, I had an NOS roof all the way from the A pillar to the C pillar that I didn't need. I just got it in a batch of parts years ago. I sold it to him, and he had that NOS roof swapped onto his car, and in the process, the body man that did the swap for him, we kind of learned where to make the cuts, but there was still a lot that was unanticipated when we were making the cuts. If you guys watched the video, you saw us actually debating a lot of different cuts and how many different layers of metal or how deep we needed to go, how to cut the A pillars, and when you cut the spot welds out, what comes off, what stays. So there was a part of that we were still learning on the fly. That's why I was so nervous when we did it. Cool truck, by the way. Check it out. Woo! Old C10. So that's really the only major unanticipated thing that we really ran into, was just how to make some of those cuts and get that thing swapped securely. All right, the next question's a good one here. This one comes from Chad O. I won't say his full name. But Chad wants to know, how do you guys get along so well in the garage? He says, me and my sons yell and argue all throughout the process, but in the end we end up fist pumping and high-fiving, and they get along at the end, but while they're working they're constantly arguing. I don't know, we don't really...
Mostly because I don't know what I'm doing. So I just kind of follow his lead.
You just kind of follow my lead?
Yeah, there's not much to argue with for me, because I don't know what I'm doing unless he's there. I mean, I know a little bit now, but
yeah. You have opinions on things.
I have opinions.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. That's about it.
Yeah, and we're not really the arguing type, I'll be honest. I'm pretty chill. I can get mad, and watch out if I do, but that is so rare and few and far between that I don't go totally David Banner on you guys. That's the Hulk for you guys that don't know that. Never mind. Anyway, I don't know. I'm not one that really gets too upset. I'm pretty chill about stuff. And Nathaniel, I think he gets it honest. He's a lot like me. We tend to kind of look at things analytically, and he's got a willingness to learn, and he does pretty well with that. He listens well, and we just kind of work through problems together. We don't really argue about them. All right, we're getting down to the last couple questions here. 1964 C10, Harry from Tennessee asked this question: how big are you guys going on the motor, and it's going to be automatic or manual? Well, I kind of already answered the how big are we going on the motor thing. It's a 30 over 350 4-bolt main, mild build in the 300 to 325 range, but it is going to be an automatic. He's actually getting not only the motor out of my other car, he's getting the old turbo hydro 350 that I had in that car. It's got a shift kit in it. I went through a lot of U-joints when I was younger, chirping that thing into second gear. So I am going to take it and get it refreshened a little bit, but it had a fresh rebuild on it when I started with it years ago.
Nope, that's not it.
Nope, that's not the turn. We're getting lost. Anyway, so that's the question from Harry. Hang on, last question. All right, sorry about that, guys. I had to turn the camera off to make sure we knew where we were going. All right, last question. And I saved this one for last because it was the most asked question. In fact, I think there were no less than 5 people that asked this same question after the very first roof swap episode on Nathaniel's car, and that is, why didn't you just cut a hole in his roof and swap the glass over? Here's the funny thing. I actually filmed a segment that explained that because I knew a lot of you were going to ask that question, and I just got to where I was editing, and I got to the point where I realized I was going to go over that half-hour threshold that I really don't ever want to go over. And we're not really a technical channel anyway, so me explaining to you why this roof needs to go here and there, and how the construction of that roof really works, what the construction of that roof really is, was just something that I ended up throwing on the editing room floor. So what I'll do is I'm not going to explain it here because it's just going to take too long. It's almost kind of a visual thing you have to see. So that piece that I filmed, I'll show you now. It's not very long, but it does explain exactly why we needed to cut at the A, B, and C pillars and transplant that roof as a whole, as opposed to just cutting a hole in and slapping the glass on there. It's an integral part of that unibody structure, so it's part of the framework of that car, and so it's a very complicated assembly, and I will explain that in the video. Thanks for all your questions, guys. Appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed this little bit of extra content. We've never done a Q&A before, and thought, what the heck, we got 6 hours on the road together on the way to Kevin's house. I thought we'd have a little chat with you guys and share a little bit of info. So take care, guys. We'll see you soon with another. There is the inside of the roof. I'll show you around a little bit and you can understand exactly how this thing works. A lot of people probably wonder how in the heck you could cut the entire metal roof off of a car, especially a unibody car like the Monza, and still structurally support it. And if you can tell, this one's easy to see. They cut the roof out all the way around, and then there's actually a big metal frame that got welded in behind all this. It's most visible down here. You can see that. And it goes all the way around there. And then, I don't know if you can tell by the lighting or not, but about every ½ inch is a spot weld, a factory spot weld. And it's pretty good. And then it's, they used hot rubber and basically fused that glass in there, and it does not come out. Anyway, that was just a little detail to explain for those of you at home that are probably wondering why I just can't cut a big hole in Nathaniel's car over here and just place the glass on top of that. It's not just glass. Because this is a unibody car, they had to build it up with its own frame, and that frame is not going to come apart. So that's why we got to cut at the A, B, and C pillar on this car, and it scares me so much. Okay, hold the phone. It's the next morning, if you can tell. I got a different t-shirt on. Nathaniel's still driving though, different t-shirt. We are on our way home, and last night at the hotel he reminded me there was one question that I forgot about. It was something I had mentioned to him a while back, and he remembered it. I don't know. Anyway, let's just run with it. It's early. I'm only on my second coffee. Anyway, LeClaire James, great father-son Instagram, by the way. You guys should give them a follow. He asked the question, and I'll be honest, everyone has been asking me this question for over the last year. I've just never answered it. LeClaire James was the most recent one to ask it, and that is that he noticed the prediction. Hold on a second. Obviously, I need more coffee. Anyway, he noticed the picture of Saddam Hussein in the back of my, holy cow, I can't talk. He noticed the picture of Saddam in my garage, in the background there. I'm sure a lot of you have noticed it. A number of you over the last year have actually asked about it. So he said, hey, I noticed a picture of Saddam. Assume it has some military significance. Yes, it does. And there's a couple reasons why it's in my garage. For one, I don't think anybody would really want that hanging in their house, particularly my wife. But yes, it does have some significance. For those of you new to the channel, most of you already probably know this, but I am retired Air Force. But I wasn't in the typical cushy Air Force job that a lot of people assume. I was actually embedded with the Army for the last 16 years. I was in 23 years, but for the last 16 I was embedded with the Army. Did Army stuff, went to battle with them 4 times. The very first time I went overseas in combat was 2003 when we invaded Iraq. I was with 3AD. We were the first ones in Baghdad. If you guys remember the shock and awe phase, or what we call the major combat phase of that battle before Baghdad fell. The very first place that we took up residence when we got to Baghdad, after battling our way up north from Kuwait, was the what used to be called Saddam Hussein International Airport. It's now called Baghdad International. Anyway, we took up residence in Terminal 3 there, and as we were securing the place, making sure that there weren't anybody, hiding out in the terminal they were trying to kill us, we went through all the offices, basement level, upper level, and in a conference room there was this this older photo, this black and white photo of Saddam Hussein, and someone had already ripped it off the wall, and it's banged up a little bit. It was already banged up like that when I got it. I decided that would be kind of a cool war trophy. So it is a war trophy from that battle from 15 years ago, actually almost 16 years ago now, in March of 2003, so almost 16 years ago. And I brought it home. That's not the only war trophy I brought back, but it is the largest, and it was a little difficult to stuff that in my stuff to get back. But while we were there in Baghdad still, I signed it. I had all my friends that were with me sign it while I was there, and it was kind of our, hey, we came, we saw, we conquered, although I kind of modified that famous quote, as you can tell by looking at it. And yes, that is a war trophy that I brought back. Not something that you really want hanging up in your house, but yet I'm pretty proud of that moment in those days, and it hangs up in my garage. So he is watching down over us, I guess, or watching from, yeah. Anyway, thanks for asking. That was a very good question. Hope you guys enjoyed this little Q&A session. We're on the road back home after a nice little stop at Kevin's house last night. I didn't film it. It's just a fun road trip with my son and I. Not everything is public, and that's the way it should be. So we're on our way back. We're enjoying our time together here in the car, singing. Well, I'm the only one singing. I think he's getting a little annoyed at me singing. And we'll catch you guys on the other side. Take care.